Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are watching us from. I'm a little nervous. I should start with that, just so you all know. So thank you. I see some of you already coming in. Thank you for being here. This is the first episode of this podcast series that PWG started about like 2 or 3 years ago, I should say. And this is the first time we're going to do it live. And we're going to do it here in our Facebook and YouTube. So yes, I'm Olga, like you, some of you already know, and some of you will meet me today. So thank you for being here. And we're going to start talking today. Today we're going to be talking about self-sabotage. Yeah, there's something that I was reading about it, and it resonated a lot of the things that I saw, and I was reading with me, and I imagine a lot of these things will resonate with you today. Today we're gonna talk with two amazing women, and that knows a lot about this, and they are experts in the today. Yeah, they are experts, and I like something that Ruth Ellen said earlier, and I'm gonna ask her to say it again because I think some of us really need to hear that more often. So some of the questions that you probably saw in the poster before were like, do you find peace and happiness? Do you find the peace and happiness is fleeting and short-lived in brief celebrations of your achievement? Do you find it challenging to express your own needs openly and directly? Do you tend to stay busy juggling many tasks and plans? If you do, well, this life is for you and for me as well, because I'm going to be learning along you. I'm not going to delay it anymore. I'm going to bring the ladies here and we're going to say welcome. Welcome, ladies. Thank you for being here. How are you?
Thanks.
I can't hear you.
Oh, hi, everybody, and thank you for making us feel so welcome. And welcome everybody from PWG. My name is Carol Morrison. And I'm a transformational life coach.
Ruth Ellen?
I'm just touching buttons here. I shouldn't be touching.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us here live. It's so exciting to hear about this being the first time live. I'm excited to be here. I'm not going to bagger on about what I do because Olga's got some great questions lined up.
Yeah, I do.
Welcome and hi. Can't wait to converse more.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. So yeah, Carol Morrison, she was saying already that she's a transformational life coach, CBT and NLP practitioner, and Ruth Ellen Danqua. She is a ADHD coach and trainer, DBT and NLP practitioner, hypnotherapist, life coach, and meditative teacher. I know these names, we need them to explain a little bit about this. So please, can you tell us a little bit about what you do? Who wants to start?
Well, I can start then. So I help empower. Empower is a really important word for me, and I hope for you. Empower professionals, perhaps like yourself, deal with unhealthy emotions such as stress, anxiety, anger, overwhelm, self-sabotage that we're talking about today. I also help you look at beliefs that are held at a less than conscious level, and this will include self-sabotage. And I empower people to design goals created from passion and goals that they're really motivated to take action on each and every day. That's it in a nutshell.
Ruth Ellen?
I've got to follow that. Okay, so I believe that labels are for jars and not for people. And what I do is I help people to take off those labels, rip them up, throw them in the trash, and help them to be themselves unapologetically. So they can be visible in whatever that looks like for them in their business or in their life. So they no longer have to be tired from playing a role, and they get to just be them rather than doing all the things. And so all the modalities that Olga shared, I do that and more, just so that there's enough tools in a toolbox to help you.
And we need that. I tell you that much. Believe me. But I want you, before we start with the whole self-sabotage, I want you to repeat what you were saying earlier when Carolyn and I were saying, we need to fix this, we need that, we need this and that and that. You said something that I want you to repeat it so everybody can hear it.
Well, there's a few things, but I think the one that you're referring to is about that expert and have been, if you're one step ahead of somebody, you're an expert. and they need your voice, they need your knowledge, they need your wisdom. And when you deny them that, when you say, oh, I'm not ready yet, I need to learn one more book, do one more course, you're stopping somebody from being able to thrive. And so just remember, one step is all you need in order to be classed as an expert. But more than anything, just embody it and own it.
Isn't that a little bit of self-sabotage in itself when we question ourselves so much?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you're constantly saying, I'm not ready, I need after this course, or I'll be happy when, all of those things are deemed as sabotage, because you're literally saying you need to get A, B, and C, and D, and E before you're good enough. And if you ever already came from a place of, I am good enough already, I'm good enough, I am good, then you'll be owning who you are. But while you're always saying, I need one more thing to make me this or make me that, and I've gone through that whole myself, you're constantly sabotaging yourself, sabotaging your progress, probably other people as well that need your wisdom. What do you think, Carol?
Carol is muted.
Oh.
Yes, you can speak now.
Yeah, oh, thanks. No, I really wholeheartedly agree. It's that judgment that we have, the judgment we have for ourselves, the judgment we have for others, and the judgment we have for circumstances. And it really does create a lot of anxiety and stress in our lives when we're constantly judging ourselves and comparing ourselves. And that is a huge part of self-sabotage. And I think what we're looking at there is a little bit about perfectionism, and the saboteur of the stickler or the perfectionist is one that really tells us lies that until we have all the information, or we look perfect, or we look a certain way, then we can't take action. So we're actually avoiding doing what we want to do because we're not perfect enough. We're judging ourselves and making this judgment, and it keeps us in a place of safety. But what we really want is to take this action.
And is that something, I ask both of you and whoever wants to answer, is that something that is a normal? Do we pick up that along the way when we grow, or is something that is instilled with us during, our family environment, or is it outside environment? How does this start and it becomes so normal?
So it's a combination of those things. It's our environment, right? And there's a thing called mirror neurons. And once we kind of see, maybe you didn't see your father or your mother just saying, hey, this is who I am, and this is what I'm owning, I'm embodying this. If you didn't see that, then you basically modeled their behavior. And so this is about kind of doing more unlearning rather than learning. You don't need to learn anymore. You need to unlearn certain patterns. And the thing is, like I said about the labels, right? It doesn't matter what label you have been classed as. It's more so to do with the pattern. Is that pattern serving you? And so, yes, when you see a pattern and it doesn't help you to get A, B, and C, then it's not serving you. And so it's definitely something that's modeled as behavior. Even if you're in an office and you see somebody acting in a certain way to get a certain thing, you're going to model that because you're thinking that's what's accepted. That is what's embraced. And if you ever are in a meeting and you put your hands up and say, hey, I've got an idea, and then somebody rebukes you and says, no, that ain't good, please be quiet, you ain't ever going to get up again and say, hey again. And so it's learned behavior from our past hurts, our past experiences. And we internalize that a lot, especially as women, because we're like, we have to be the Wonder Woman, when in essence, that's such a toxic way to be the Wonder Woman, the woman that gets to do all of it and she doesn't rest. And if she moans, she then becomes a weak woman. It just doesn't make sense, but that's what we're taught.
Yeah, you can't hear me. Sorry, I was muting myself, so I didn't any of my background sounds. Yeah, actually, what you were saying resonates with me because we do have that tendency of becoming Wonder Woman, or we have to do it all. Now, and I imagine that's what we are trying to do now with the ladies in PWG, and trying to bring that all these concepts and understandings. But how is there a way to actually get out of those and get out of those habits and unlearn that? because I feel it's a little too, we grown too much. Like I feel it everywhere, isn't it?
Are you asking me? Yeah.
Whichever one to answer. It's for the both of you.
Yeah, so I'll answer, and you can just maybe fill in the gap. Yeah, so I think it's a culture, right? And there's lots of people that are talking about the patriarchy and bringing it down and toxic masculinity. Like there's this enemy that's supposed to be there, who stopped us from being who we are. And I think when it comes down to crumbling that and breaking those patterns, there are going to be times when it's going to be challenging. But having the right tools and having the right support for those tools and the right guidance, or even an expert, the person that's been one step ahead, to help, is really key to doing this work. Because basically it's the work you're doing when we're talking about not self-sabotaging is all about safety. You feel safe doing this. You feel safe not sharing who you are, your truth, because you've been hurt before. So we're telling you, hey, you're safe to be yourself. And it's not generally been the case in the past. So doing this work has to be a gradual process. But in order for you to actually know you're winning and to actually know that there's progress being made, a great way is with what we do here is about measuring your success. Being able to measure the fact that you're not going to blow up or break down or have a meltdown because something's gone wrong, but being able to be resilient and bounce back and have the support available to do that with ease. That's easy when you've got the right tools.
Carol, you want to say something? You want to add something?
Absolutely. I really love that, Ruth Ellen. And for me, the first step in all of this, and really being able to see where we're self-sabotaging, is to grow in self-awareness. And part of growing in self-awareness is to become really fascinated by how we're feeling in the present moment. So we're not thinking about the past and we're not thinking about the future. We're being very present in the moment. We're being aware, number one, of our emotions. How am I feeling right now? I'm feeling anger. Why am I feeling anger? In which ways am I self-sabotaging the situation? Am I judging myself? Am I judging what that person has said about me? Does that make them a bad person? Does that make me a bad person? So when we're really growing in self-awareness, and that would be the first step I would say that's really important for learning how to deal with self-sabotage and lead a more fulfilling and productive life and a happier life, is to be really acutely self-aware.
Actually, but what is, coming from me as a person who might have had these habits or do stuff like this, in not in details, but for me, as a question would be, isn't it harder to learn to unlearn, or excuse me, to learn to be self-aware than unlearn what you already know about self-sabotage? Isn't it harder to be self-aware that you are dealing with these problems? Or how do you guys teach the self sabotage? I don't know. Does it make sense? Does the question, does it make sense?
I think the word, I guess it's the language right behind it. When we use the word harder, or when we use the word, when we try to make sense of it from a rational point of view, that's when the judge is coming up again. And that's when parts of the saboteur is coming up again. Because essentially, like, if you was in a scenario when you're at work or just in generally in your professional profession, and you're finding yourself constantly creating this life that's really small, then isn't it harder to live that life than it is just to live a life that's full? So the question is more so around maybe the why, that compelling vision of what you want from your life. So if you want a life that's kind of, I just want it easy, I don't want anyone to bother me, and I just want to, be, but then you're not feeling happy, you're not connected to others, you're not really building authentic relationships, and you're not having the income that you deserve, then you're finding yourself losing at every point of turn. It's almost like you've got this great vision, this amazing life that's in front of you, but you're saying, no, I don't want that. I want something smaller. So it's more about asking yourself that question. Do I want something better than this? And am I prepared to go through maybe some uncomfortable parts? Because yes, any personal development work that you do, any work is going to take some form of expansion. But the great thing about expanding out your comfort zone is you can go back in. No one said you have to step out your comfort zone and stay there. You can go out and say, hey, what's this? And go back in and feel safe still. And that's the beauty of this work. No one's saying, you know, go 100 miles per hour and feel unsafe. Somebody's saying to you, actually, you can take a peek, 15 minutes a day. If you can do that, 2 minutes each time, sometimes even less, then that's all it takes to start the process. Does that sound hard? I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, it depends. No, isn't the coming out of your comfort zone is the same as not accepting change? Because I know a lot of people who have a hard time when change comes, and then they always try to stop it. Is that the same?
Yeah. So what you'll do when you're coming out your comfort zone, it's going to be a little bit of a change. You're going to see a little bit of a reward for it, right? Sometimes you don't see a reward. Let's face it. Sometimes you're doing it and you don't see nothing. You see the steps you're taking, but you're like, where are the results? I might as well just do what I was doing. Let's be real. That happens sometimes as well. But being able to identify that, hey, again, reminding myself of this vision, knowing that I'm getting out of my comfort zone and it's going to give me what I want and what I need. And it might, in terms of instant gratification, because we live in this microwave society, let's face it, you're going to get results straight off, as in, I'm going to be able to measure this. And the measurements are like, I don't get so uncomfortable when I'm having uncomfortable conversations. I don't get so tense when I feel like I should avoid a scenario and run away. I actually stay in that scenario and I have a conversation. So these are really important sort of life skills that we sometimes weren't always taught. So again, if you have a vision, you're gonna know what those milestones look like for you. So being able to identify them is really important. That's part of the process. And that's what's going to stop you from going back in your comfort zone and thinking, I don't need to do this anymore because it's not working, because it is working. And your brain, that's going to be more in the sage mode, which is more of the part of the brain that's, calm, cool and collective. That's part of the brain's going to be much more activated than the brain that's more judgmental and condescending and really disempowering. And so you're going to enjoy being more in the sage brain than you are in the judgment zone brain.
That's true. Carol, you want to add something?
Yeah, I think it's really important for us to look at the reasons that we're struggling to come out of, you're talking about your comfort zone into the growth zone. And it's the same reasons that we self-sabotage. And for me, the number one reason is low self-worth, not thinking that we're enough value. And that's a huge coaching topic in its own. And also fear of failure is huge, and fear of success. And one of the reasons that we do self-sabotage in addition to that is that we want control. What do we want control of? We want control of our own failure. So if I don't step out of my comfort zone and take the risk, then I'm not going to fail because I'm not even stepping out. I'm in control of my own failure because I'm choosing not to take the risk. But if I step out of the comfort zone and take the risk and it's still not good enough, what would that mean about me? That I'm not good enough? So I can choose to stay in this place where I'm self-sabotaging. I know what I want with my life, but I'm choosing to remain small, and I'm telling myself lots of lies to keep me safe. I'm not clever enough. I'm not good enough. It's never going to work out. It's going to cost too much money. Are they true? So the saboteur that's talking to you, that executioner in your head, that judge, is lying to you in order to keep yourself safe. Remember, the saboteur is never your friend.
I remember now that you say that, when I was younger watching cartoons in Cuba, there was sometimes a little I don't remember where it was from, the cartoon that had a little good one and a bad one. And there was that bad one is always telling you, hey, do this, and then the good one. So is that kind of like what happens in our head taken into the cartoon world? Is that how we like, we have that thought that, yes, I want to do good, but then there's like, stay here. We've been here all this time. Why you want to move now? You know?
Absolutely. And there's like, believe it or not, 10 of them. 10 of them are literally playing with each other, playing against you. And they are not the most helpful voices that go on, right? You know, like you said, you know, different things around, maybe I need to achieve this goal, and if I don't achieve this goal, then that means I'm not valuable and a valuable asset. You know, if somebody calls you into the office, you're thinking, am I going to get fired? You know, all of these thoughts come into the brain purely because of the way that part of the brain operates. It's not there to serve you, it's there to keep you small. And you can imagine if you stay in that place forever, you're not going to get very far at all. But if you go to the other place, there's 5 powerful actual helpers there that are stronger, way stronger than the 10 saboteurs. And you can imagine just how much progress you can make if you do go to that side. Like in terms of over like 500,000 people that have gone through the program and actually seen results. So it's not like, oh, let's just see if this works. It's measurable as well.
Now let's talk a little bit about the workshops, because we have talked lots about self-sabotaging and the causes and how to spot them and all of that. Within the workshops, normally, I don't know, there are some workshops that is 1 time or 2 times or 3 or twice or 3 or 4, and then that's where you get the most out of it. In this case, the workshops will be a one-off, and I get all the tools I need to be able to spot my self-sabotaging, or do I need more time? Because I imagine you do. It depends of your age. I mean, that's me personally. But you guys are the expert, you would say. So how would that be? Can you walk me or walk us through the process?
Yeah, I'd be delighted to. For me, self-sabotage has been, honestly, from the heart, the most interesting topic I've researched. And there's so much to self-sabotage. We're looking at self-sabotage with your career and your goal. And where I've found a particular interest is self-sabotage in relationships, self-sabotage in friendships, self-sabotage in romantic relationships. The behaviours that we have when we want a friendship or a romantic relationship, the behaviours that we display that actually take us further away from that. If you're looking at a romantic relationship, for example, where a partner displays the emotion of jealousy or envy and goes out of his way or her way to really stop the other person, you know, doing activities and wanting to control the activities, you know, what they want is to have that person and to keep that relationship, but actually you're repelling your partner away because they don't feel free. That's just one of how that appears relationship-wise. So yes, I really do think that, you know, but there's so much to learn on self-sabotage that one session just wouldn't be enough.
I apologize. I think my internet is acting up. I don't know why. But yeah, okay. So I understand a little bit of what you're saying. So is it something? Well, first, I missed a little bit of it, just a tiny bit. But so is it something that it needs to be in a process of a longer? I don't know how you call it. Would you call it a treatment or a class or a?
Yeah, I think that really what we're going to look at is the 10 different saboteurs in our life. We're going to look, first of all, at the science behind it, because there's neural pathways in our brain that really change the left and the right-hand part of our brain. That could be one workshop alone. The science is fascinating. The 10 different saboteurs in our lives, the 5 different ways we can counteract that, mental fitness in itself, and then really putting all of this together with a technique that takes your brain from more in a self-sabotage mode to more in a place of peace and calm. So that relates to content. And also what we plan to do is to give the attendees some homework to do in between sessions so that they can really practice what they're learning, because insight is one thing, but when you're actually putting it into action, you really can see a shift. I don't know how many times I've been to a workshop and after 2 weeks I've forgotten most of the content, but with what we're going to be teaching you, you're actually putting it into practice, and we want to see the results at the next workshop.
Perfect. Ruth Ellen, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I just that there's no transformation from information without implementation. We've got to learn how to do the work. And the work doesn't have to sound so scary or be so scary. What's great about this is knowing that there's a whole group of people in the same room who are doing the work together. And so when you're going through the process, there's lots of interaction between you all. So you're not feeling like this is a talking at death by PowerPoint type thing. We want to make sure that you're engaged and you're learning from each other and you're gaining insights. But then from those insights, being able to actually do the work, that's going to see tremendous difference in your everyday. So you almost see a transformation throughout the whole process. So yeah, come along. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I imagine. I just by talking to you guys now, I'm like, I'm really curious now, because when I was researching the little that I could, because I mean, the topic I feel is huge. So the little that I could research and I was listening, I was finding a lot of these things onto myself. Like I was noticing those things that I actually, some of them did in the past. And then I started noticing. Is noticing these patterns easy? Is it difficult, or you always need somebody who spot them for you? And then, because some of the parties that I remember that when I was looking at those, I was like, maybe my mom or some friends of mine were telling me, you do this, you do this, you do this. At some point, you kind of like start back and then you start thinking about it. Is it that way, or is something that you can yourself spot them? Or is better to come to the workshops and actually get the tools to spot them easier? Who's answering?
I think that self-sabotage is devious because it's at a less than conscious level. So your subconscious mind is really driving the bus. The subconscious mind has such a power, so it's very difficult to spot. Some forms of self-sabotage, like procrastination and perfectionism, you may be consciously aware of, but I would say most of them are very, very deep. And even when you try to explore them, there's that resistance there, because they're very clever. And usually the people who have the most saboteurs in their life are the people that think they have none at all, because they're so deeply hidden. So please, yeah, I would advise you to come along, and you might be very surprised. Ruth Ellen, would you add to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's come along and learn the tools. I think the most empowering thing you can do for yourself is find out what the tools are so that you can spot them yourself. I think one of the worst disempowering things is when people say, I've noticed this about you, I've noticed that about you. It becomes very like defensive. You become defensive because you're almost feeling like you're attacked. And that's one of the saboteurs as well, that the fact that that saboteur is there, like literally to kind of ward off. So it's definitely much more empowering for you to notice it yourself, to make those changes, so it doesn't become this, I'm shocked, I've never known this before. Being self-aware, not spotting those patterns, breaking those patterns is definitely the right route to go.
Anything else that you guys will do within the workshop that helps with the self-sabotage? We were talking about some PQ, was it PG? What was it? And I don't know if you want to talk about it now. I remember is there something that it would be helpful in the workshop, and maybe you want to talk a little bit about now, or it's something that you want to say for the ladies in the workshop? So you don't want to give too much information now? No.
I think what we're doing is we're going to be using breakout rooms. So, you're going to be really having contact with other people that are at the workshops. It's an opportunity to really connect with somebody and perhaps see their saboteurs as well. So being able to see the saboteurs in a stranger is almost, sometimes as a mirror to yourself. And we are going to be using the technique to take you from saboteur to sage, which is a more peaceful equivalent. And that does involve a technique that's called PQ reps. And we'll go into that maybe a bit at the workshop, or would you like to go into that further, Ruth Ellen?
I think we're going to tease you and get you to come to the workshop, because it's almost like if we taught you a squat right now, you'd be like, oh, great. But there's certain ways that you have to stand, certain angles you have to take when you're squatting. So we would be doing a disservice to you if we taught you how to do the rep and then you're like, okay, I've got it, it's not working. We want you to build muscle. Just like if you're doing a squat, you'd be building muscle. And so it's so important to build that fitness muscle in the brain so that you can react to life in a really positive way and no longer get sabotaged from all of these different factors, from the people, from yourself, and from your circumstances.
So should we say that we want to end this live with the question, do I want something better than this? Is that the question we want to go out with? Is that the message that we want to go out with this when it comes to self-sabotage?
You go, Ruth Ellen.
Thanks for volunteering me. I guess, the question you want to ask is, there's so many different questions, but I guess one of the a powerful question is, am I really experiencing life in its wholeness? Am I really experiencing life in its wholeness? Or is there something else?
Okay. I tried to catch the last word. Am I really experiencing life to the fullest?
Yeah, we could use fullest. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
No, I because I know a little bit of the expression. That's why okay. So yeah, I do. So I don't know about the rest of you. I know this. Pardon?
I was saying, do you really?
I do. I actually ask myself both of those questions, both of them, and that's why I'm here. I'm doing this here today, because I ask myself those questions, and I actually get out of my comfort zone. So I know I would have to learn a lot more, and I would like to learn that with you both. But yeah, definitely. I am asking myself those questions, but I know this is new for the ladies. This is the first time we do something like this with the speakers that are going to be speaking in an event, and then the same thing when we are doing the workshops. This is something totally new for all of us, even for myself. So I hope you guys have the ones that are being here in and out, and the ones that are going to watch this later get the message of what we're trying to say. And I think it's very important topic and very interesting, because we all have done it. I believe the expert will say yes or no, but I think we all at some point have done it. And like Ruth Ellen was saying in the beginning, we all experts. Can you repeat that again, please?
Now I have to remember it word verbatim. If we're one step ahead,
yeah, if
we're one step ahead, we're an expert. That's all you need, right? And so choose us to be experts in this, so that you can be an expert to somebody else. Give somebody that gift.
So that's it. This is it. Let's just go with the experts. Let's learn to stop those behaviors, because I want to experience a life to the fullest, and I really want something better. I don't know about all of you, but I do. So thank you so much, ladies, for this night. Thank you for being the first guest in this Women in Business series for PWG in this live. We're gonna see each other. We're gonna talk to each other, and I arrange all the stuff for the ladies to come and learn with you and unlearn. Actually, we are learning, or we're learning. What are we doing?
Definitely unlearning. You're unlearning.
Yeah, you're taking it back to, you're almost like your childhood innocence. We're going back to our childhood innocence before we had that download that computer download. Yeah.
So these workshops are coming to you online sometime after the summer. We will tell you specific. We're going to do the whole promo for it. Don't miss them. You want to know and you want to unlearn with these two ladies here. Thank you so much for tonight.
Thank you, Olga. Thank you, ladies.
Don't go. Stay down there, like I told you before. Don't go yet. We need to have a little talk and a picture. I need to have that picture. So thank you. Thank you for everybody, the ones that were here with us. Thank you for the ones that are going to come later on. This is our first episode of Women in Business Live. We're going to be doing these workshops. I'm super excited about this. I love these ladies already. I already learned by listening to them, and I hope you do too. So I bet you're going to love the workshops, and the events are coming. So stay tuned. There's a lot more with PWG. Remember, we're going for bigger and better, and we do want to do better in my personal life and here with you too. See you next time. I will prepare music for next time. I think I'm missing that. I have to have that part of me. But thank you for being here.